Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now August 8th of 2020, and ever since the very end of the Skywalker saga, a lot of fans have been really curious about the future of the franchise and exactly how both Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are really going to handle everything moving forward when it comes to the new TV shows, the movies, the books, the comics, the novels, you name it. That's really all going to make up for this new universe, and that they really are aiming to bring it to the same exact level as the MCU. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, the one thing about Disney Star Wars is that we do know that they are really trying to make this into an ever-evolving franchise by introducing tons of new mythologies, timelines, eras, whatever have you. That's really going to expand it even all the more so in comparison to the old expanded universe from the 90s and the 2000s. So here's the thing, is that yes, we do have George, John, and Dave working together to really provide as much authentic material as possible to really impress the fans, to really reel in a lot of the lost fans from the sequel trilogy. And that there's no doubt about it that the sequel trilogy really lost a lot of fans because of what they did with The Last Jedi and, of course, The Rise of Skywalker based on Kathleen Kennedy's decisions. Now, looking back at Star Wars now, we obviously know that it has had a sharp decline, and what Chapek wants to do now is he wants to create a major increase in the fan interest of this franchise. And that's exactly what they're going to do, starting off with The Mandalorian Season 2, which, by the way, you can expect a trailer for that sometime in late August of this month. Now, on top of all of that, what's really intriguing all has to do with, of course, the fact that since the conclusion of the Skywalker saga, many changes have been made behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm by Disney CEO Bob Chapek and more. It's described that Chapek and Iger are giving Lucasfilm a major facelift by hiring new creators and promoting others as well. However, it's described and noted that behind the scenes, when The Rise of Skywalker was being developed, actress Daisy Ridley had actually major creative differences with Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy on how Kennedy wanted the direction of Rey to go for the movie. Now, it's described that Daisy Ridley was very angry and upset with Kennedy for deleting more than half of what Daisy Ridley worked on for The Rise of Skywalker, and initially promised Ridley that some of her deleted scenes would be put on the Blu-ray edition of the movie. Kennedy later broke this promise, which frustrated Daisy Ridley and is the main reason as to why Ridley is leaning more to saying no to returning to Star Wars for the animated Rise of Skywalker sequel series, where it's described that Chapek is trying to give any offer possible to get Ridley back as the voice of Rey and for her to provide facial scans for the character in this animated project for the fans to witness. Ridley for Episode 9 originally had done tons of training for a full-on saber duel between herself and Palpatine, as well as 3 extra scenes where she played as Dark Rey, just a couple of examples there. Now, this almost led Ridley to losing her mind with her creative control by Lucasfilm's Kathleen Kennedy, and more that Ridley holds problems with Kathleen as we speak. So here's the thing about Disney and Lucasfilm, is that thankfully, a lot of changes are being made to the Star Wars franchise to prevent any of these types of creative differences to happen in the near future. You guys may recall that J.J. Abrams initially was allowing the cast to really write their own lines of dialogue, to really improvise, including Mark Hamill as well. Kennedy actually got rid of that. Now, that's one of the main reasons as to why Mark Hamill had a lot of problems with the movie behind the scenes, is that he, as an actual actor and fan of the franchise, wanted to create his own lines for the character of Luke because he knows exactly how the character should act, and Kennedy prevented that from even happening. It did happen on some level, but she deleted it from the actual movie and refused to include it on the Blu-ray. The main reason as to why you did not have any deleted scenes on the Blu-ray edition of the film is because essentially Kennedy was trying to hide of how much better of a movie it was where both George, JJ, and Chris were working on the film before George was pretty much out of the equation. So the thing about this involving Daisy Ridley, of how a lot of her scenes were really just put to the wayside, of how a lot of it involved, Dark Rey and a full-on saber duel between herself and her grandfather, Palpatine, all these scenarios that were deleted and just completely thrown into the trash. You can only imagine why Ridley would be so frustrated to the point where where she almost lost her mind, is because that took a lot of time and effort, it took a lot of training, physically and mentally, and it took a lot of rehearsals to really get those scenes done and down correctly between herself, Adam, and even Ian McDiarmid. So this is yet another example as to why Kathleen Kennedy is not fit for Star Wars. She does not fit the overall narrative of Star Wars. And thankfully, we got George, John, and Dave now leading the way for this new expanded universe that really is going to be quite something. So with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.